And we are live. Welcome to Real Talk with Andres and Heather, the podcast where we say the quiet part out loud about real estate, business, and the situations nobody warns you about, all while we are streaming live, so there are no edits.
Beautiful, beautiful. And again, isn't coaching from a stage or highlight reels on social media. This is real stories, real mistakes, real money, and real consequences from agents, buyers, sellers, business owners living it in real time. So if you're tired of the sugar coated advice, fake gurus, and playing small because nobody tells you how this really works, you're in the right place. I'm Andres, and this is Heather. Let's get into some real talk.
Let's get into some real talk. It's been a crazy week.
It has been. It has been the past, man, week and a half. I think last week we were talking about, and the week prior to that, me driving over to North Carolina, coming back through the storm, and it has been crazy. I just feel like the one storm left and another one came through, although it did not bring water or snow. It's just brought a lot of other things. But I think it all has been for the great.
It brought the pollen. Everything is yellow. Everybody is sick.
It definitely has. Telling you, every morning I wake up and I'm sneezing for the first hour of the day. Like I don't know, it's bad, real bad. But hey, like I told you, I look like I'm high. I don't smoke. Never touched a cigarette in my life.
That sounds like something somebody who is high would say.
No, seriously, I get it.
Just
I've been
kidding.
asked a number of times if I ever smoke, had weed, anything, and I'm like, nope. Have I been offered? Yes. Have I been around people? Yes. I have no problem. That doesn't mean I have to do it, you know? So I've always been strong about not doing certain things, and that's one of them. Just not for me. You have a good day. I have no problem against it. Just it's not for me.
We were driving the other day and this car pulled up next to us, and from inside our car we could smell the weed coming from that car, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, how did they, I mean, they probably know they smell like that, but like I would have a headache just from like that smell alone. Like I could not deal with it being that, and if it was that intense inside our car and we weren't even in the car that was doing it, it was the car next to us, I can only imagine how bad it must be over there.
How are they driving? How are they just? Yeah, I don't know. I've been in situations like that, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know how they do it. My props to them. Just not me.
Yeah, no, I've never liked the smell of, like, I've never liked the smell of cigarettes. So obviously I don't like the smell of like weed either, but it's just always been something for me that is one of the most horrible smells ever to me is the smell of cigarette smoke.
Yeah, I I grew up with my aunts that smoke quite a bit. I grew up and I lived with her 2 years in Puerto Rico. And man, I can't recall the time where two of my aunts were together and my grandpa. Mind you, there were about 4 packs a day between those three people going in there a day, and her husband used to own a business and buy it by the bulk. And I would go with her to the stores and buy the cigarettes and supplies for the store. And I'm like, oh my god. And yes, people don't understand why I don't like smokes, and I grew up around that, and it's just disgusting for me. I mean, I don't like using that word, but just not a place I want to be around with. Not something I want to try, not something I want to be around with. It just it was too much,
Yeah.
you know. And same thing. I was young. I had people smoking weed at that time and doing all kinds of things. It's just I learned from that. I saw what I liked and what I didn't like, and certainly learned to stay away from certain things that didn't want to be part of. So it was good in a way. I learned from it. It doesn't mean I had to do it or be involved with it.
No.
So what else is going on in your world this week, Heather?
So we're actually going to be unveiling something soon. Don't want to say too much about it, but I know we're both super excited. And it's definitely, I think, going to be a game changer for a lot of people and a lot of industries, and a lot of people who use or want to use AI and want to be more organized with their work, more strategic with their marketing, but they're just not in a position where they have the ability to do that. So within the next coming week or so, we're going to be launching something that I think is going to be pretty helpful for a lot of people. So I'm super excited about that. I think you are too.
I am, and I called you yesterday. I said, Heather, I'm excited about this. I'm really, really looking forward to it, and and getting dirty and getting this thing out there because we've been talking about it for a while. We are in the business industry. We are in the real estate space, and we see what it can do, not on just this space, but overall. Um, and like we talked about last week, AI is something that's going to help you enhance your business, stay on top of things a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. And I think this is essential, regardless of what business you're in. So I'm excited for to get this out there and continue to work with it and talk about it more. So it's gonna be good. So just stay tuned for more.
Stay tuned. I'm excited. I'm super excited. I know a lot of people are scared of AI. Some people don't know how to use it. Some people think it's like the most worst thing ever. I think it's coming, whether we want it or not. It's here. It's coming. There's the AI war is going on right now, so you
It
just got to
sounds
adapt.
scary because people don't know you don't know anything about it, right? I think that goes along with anything that we're not aware of, that we don't know much about. Is scary to some extent because we truly don't understand that what it's capable of, and what we think that it can do. We are putting objections that we don't necessarily understand and know about, and may not be objections after all. It may work on your benefits. So what they think is wrong with it might be something that is actually quite, the thing they need for their business or they need in their life. They need to organize in their space. So, but because they don't know about it or they don't know how it actually works, they make it sound scary at first. And it's like if you're going to, like me, every time I'm going on DR, I grew up there. It's my country. I'm scared because from year to year, there's a lot of things I don't know about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of neighborhoods that I don't dare walk in. So it's scary, and I look at it in the same capacity. I walk them into something new, and it's gonna be shaky. I'm gonna be shaky a little bit. I gotta get my feet in there. I have to understand that a little bit. I gotta get familiar with the people, how people operate, how things are functioning around it, and till I get that comfort level that okay, let's work with this. I'm gonna work with you. Let's dance. So now I'm having fun with it. Now I'm exploring it. Now I'm let's do this. And that's how I think I approach everything. I'm gonna tip my toes in it, see how it is, how we feel, how cold is that water, just like what we do on the beach. We want to see how cold that water is, and then before we really dive into it. Uh, and I think it's going to be the same approach with AI as we go along.
Well, I think, everything is scary at first. If you think back to all of the great inventions and the things that have shaped the way we live today, for example, indoor plumbing, electricity. People were scared of electricity at first. They were scared of the lights. They were scared of having that in their house. Um, any huge change like that. And ChatGPT, people at first didn't want to use ChatGPT because, they were like, we don't need to give something this much insight to our daily lives. And now look at almost everybody uses ChatGPT at least once a day. So it's pretty much a staple with, if you're in the industry or you're in school, pretty much everybody uses ChatGPT. So I think just learning something, understanding it eventually, like you said, dip your toes in it, get used to the cold water, and eventually you'll understand it enough to not be afraid. But that being said, there's still a good healthy amount of fear to have. Don't just go into it blindly and think, oh, I can just do whatever I want with this and everything's going to be okay. Because especially if you're using a open something like an open source, something like OpenClaw or something, you're not sure how to use it. And if you're using it not knowing how to use it and you're just letting it fly and be free, then yeah, there could be ramifications for that. So don't do that. So have a healthy amount of fear for it, but don't be so afraid that you don't try it.
Yeah, something I've learned the past 2 3 years is everyone in business fail at some point. You know, you have to, and it's a requirement in order to be successful. You have to fail. You have to throw yourself out there and figure things out. If it doesn't work out, you make adjustments, you improve, you do it again, and you continue to do so until you get it right and continue. And now you have that product. And we're in the same space, right? We're launching this, we're doing this, boom. We may have to make some adjustment, but not giving up and continue to push forward. I think that's what you and I um, is our drive, is our motor. Because we from day one when we met over Zoom, we are like, man, I think there's potential here. We can work together, and we've been working together since. And what we see coming is in the same thing. We saw it 2 years ago, and it's now coming into fruition. And we'll continue to do so. And I think the people that are coming on board and people that are going to be using this is in the same mindset, right? You're gonna have to try it. Keep trying because the way you use it or implementing it, you may have to make some adjustment. And that's how we're gonna, grow with the technology, grow with the pain, and get it to where we need it to be. So, and that's the fun part that you get to do all of these things in the process, learn with it, train it, teach it, and until you get that core that is maximizing your business. So I think this is exciting.
It is. And just knowing how to use it. I know a lot of people expect perfect results the first time. They'll enter in a prompt and they'll be like, okay, now give me my perfect result. And when they don't get that perfect result the first time, they get really upset. And I'm like, well, this wasn't exactly the perfect prompt that you put in here. So I don't know what you were thinking. It's a work in progress. You have to. Let's just use ChatGPT for example. If you put in a prompt and you get a result you don't like, tell it that. I mean, don't be rude. Don't be like, "Hey, you're stupid. This sucks. Fix this." Be nice so that the robots don't kill you when they take over. Say this is good, but this needs adjusting, or we need to go in this direction, and it will take the feedback and it'll do what you want. You just have to know how to adjust it correctly.
Yeah, and that's the fun part, right? It's a dance. That's my thing for my real estate. That's my slogan. I'm gonna take you to your closing. I'm gonna take you to the house one step at a time, just like we're dancing.
Right?
And that's how I approach life,
Just
like a
kidding,
dance.
kinda about the robots taking over.
Oh, I'll dance with the robot too.
There we go. Dance with the robots. You'll be so busy dancing with them, they'll be distracted. Oh, you'll
So
be like, oh, what's that story? Oh, no, I can't think of it. The guy with the fiddle that plays the fiddle, and all the is it keep the kids follow him, cats follow him. Somebody, so, do you know how I'm talking about? It's like a nursery rhyme. It's the guy with the fiddle, and he plays the fiddle, and then like they're mesmerized by the music. And I think it's little kids. I think he's kidnapping kids. This isn't a great story, but anyways, that's how. Well, all nursery rhymes and like bedtime stories, they're all like very dark stories when you get down to the root of the story. But
yeah,
it, you'll be like that with the robots. You'll start dancing, and then they'll start dancing, and then they'll follow you in the little conga line, and you'll
there you go. See, so
Piper.
yeah, no, I robot here for us because we'll put the robots to dance. Hey, that movie that was put so how many years ago? I Robot, and now we see some of these things happening. To I always think movies are telling us a message that we want to know ahead of time, right? If you go back and look at some movies, and we should do an episode on that. Let's
We
do an
really should.
episode on movies that have expressed something that has happened years after the movie came out. Um, because I'm curious to see what movies and what things have happened, and I know for a fact there's a number of things. So
Um,
we
they've made
should let them to find that.
multiple movies about why we should not make
Yeah,
robots and intelligence. And are we listening? No, we're not listening. So,
that's the beauty of the humans, right? We don't listen to our own messages.
no, we don't. We like to give advice. We don't like to take it. We don't like to take our own advice either.
Yeah. Well, in regards to that, let's dive into what would you do message for today because it has to do a little bit about that somehow.
Awesome. And a quick note for everybody, this is a dramatized story. This is not based on real clients or real situations, but every single scenario is based on situations that agents and clients and business owners deal with all the time. So let's dive into what would you do?
All right, let's do this. Let's do this. So, all right, you run a plumbing, HVAC, electrical business, right? And you complete the job, everything works, client approved, no issues during the walkthrough. Then the invoice comes, and suddenly there's a problem. Now they're saying that they're not paying that. Imagine that. Anything new. So the job's already done, materials, labels already paid out of your pocket. Client starts nitpicking small things after the fact. They threaten with a bad review. If you push hard, non-signed contract, or it's vague. What are you doing? Are you pulling back up to fix things or standing firm? Or do you stay professional and get real with them? What is your approach in this?
Okay, so I'm make sure I understand. So I run an HVAC business. I did a house call and then fixed whatever was wrong. And it was like when I left, everything was good, everything was great, or there was nothing wrong.
No, you did all the work.
Okay.
You did all the work that was required. You provide them an invoice, and now they don't want to pay it, and they are nitpicking at little things when everything that needed to be addressed was addressed and fixed, and you paid out of pocket for all materials and everything.
Dang. Um, I mean, at that point, yeah, if the work was done and they didn't pay, I I'm like that seems depending on how much it was, like you could take them to court over that. I mean, and then if they're trying to like write bad reviews for you and stuff online, that's the thing. It's like nobody goes online to ever write a good review anymore. But I mean, you can always comment on reviews too, especially if they opened it up with saying that. You could be like, yeah, they haven't paid for the work. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to say that. I'm not a like attorney, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to state that on the thing too. If they're trashing you, just be like, we service their house and they don't want to pay. That's the issue.
Yeah, and I think it's a very sensitive area because I've known people that this has happened to, as far as contractors. Um, but I've also seen on Facebook where people get burned by supposedly individuals, professionals that go in there to do a job. They ask for upfront deposit and then they never show up to do the work. I've seen a lot of comments like that post on the neighborhood app on Facebook, which it makes you wonder like people are going to be a little bit skeptical about paying up front because they don't want to get screwed by someone who's not going to go back and do the job. And at the same time, if you are legitimate business contractors and you do a service and now somebody doesn't want to pay you, that's frustrating, right? You have out of pocket expenses, you have a family to maintain, you have a business to keep running, you have staff to pay. It's a tough situation.
It is. And I actually have seen it from both sides. So working as real estate agents, we know a lot of contractors. We know a lot of people who do service type work. And I've seen several contractors get burned where they either didn't get paid at all or they didn't get paid the second half. Um, I've seen them get burned on different sides. Like they got burned by a client that didn't get paid, or they got burned by their workers who just like took the stuff and ditched out, and then they're stuck there having to supply work that they thought they had covered, and now they have to do it again. And then I've also seen it from the other side where it's the individual homeowner who has hired the contractor to come in and do something, and they got burned. And both sides are especially challenging because, like you said, you do have these contractors who this is their livelihoods. They've got families to feed, they've got businesses to run, they've got employees to pay, employees who have families to feed. And then on the other side of it, you've got families or homeowners that they're paying this money to get stuff done, which maybe they don't have the extra money. So if they lose that money that they didn't have in the first place, that puts them in a position where they're financially struggling now as well. And it puts a lot of mistrust in the air, which I think there was already a lot of mistrust in the air when it comes to contractors and work like that when it's not huge companies. But then the mistrust with huge companies is that they're going to overcharge you because they're big name brand companies. So it's definitely a tightrope that people walk. The the way I know to really try to safeguard these things is use personal references. People that have said this company came in and did work for me. Not they did work for my uncle's brother's cousin's friend who lives next door, and they said they were pretty good, but they actually did the work for them, and they can say, hey, this is the work they did for me. Look at my HVAC, or look at my fence in my backyard that they put up. It looks great. I love it. You should hire them too. So that's how I can think, people who are needing the service can try to protect themselves that way. Is it 100% guarantee? No, but it's better than a yellow book phone number lookup and call.
Are they still using the yellow book?
No, I don't even make yellow books anymore. I don't know. I just remember it from when I was like little. I haven't even, I don't think they do. They don't, do they?
No, I don't think so. Not digitally, they may have it, but not actual print. And you're exactly right. I think you, as a business owner, you have to take precautions and measures to protect your interests and protect your business, right? Your time. Whether finding ways to talk to the people that inquired about the business, about what you do, and letting them know, hey, talk to these people first. But and and building that trust with them to ensure that, okay, you're getting quality of work, this is what I have done, and then getting paid, whether you break that into different steps, um, with a certain percentage up front, halfway through the job, and then the rest at the end, to help facilitate the process, one, for the consumer, for the client, if they don't have all the money up front right away, depending on how long that project, that job is going to take, and two, to make sure that you get paid there for your time, for your service. And like I said, it sucks on both ends. If you pay upfront for service, you never get it, and then you complete a service and you don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
It really sucks on both ends. That's the reality of it, and you never want to be in that situation. But we see these happening time and time again, and and I'm curious to see where the disconnect is, because if you are hiring someone, are you doing anything to check that they what their work is, right? Because I'll be honest, I'll give you my word. Like, for some people, that doesn't mean a lot. They want to see proven record, right? And they just see somebody, oh, I'm willing to do this, and they want to go the cheap route. Turns out that cheap route costs them even more because somebody that doesn't even do the job, right? So it's just a matter of really, as a consumer, taking extra measures before you hire someone to verify that whoever you think is doing the job is actually does what it does, and have a proven record before you even hire them and pay them up money up front. Because if you also hire a legitimate business, I think you have measures in place to protect your interests and protect your company and protect your time.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways, and sometimes I think people are looking for an easy way out, easy cheap route, and sometimes it costs them a little bit more because there's people looking for those opportunities.
And there are so many dishonest people in the world today that it does suck. People are looking to score something for free, or complain about things. And this um kind of sort of related, but not really. We when we I don't know if I talked about this or not. We went to Florida. When we went to Florida, we went to this restaurant. Um, Lulu's on the it's like right on the shore. I don't know if we did tell you about that or no.
No,
So it's this really cool little restaurant in Destin. It's called Lulu's. It's like you can eat literally on the shore of the ocean. It's like the sand and then there's the water. So it was like an awesome view. And the reason why we went there, one, obviously, because it was like super cool looking, was because they offer gluten free and celiac. Now, disclaimer: if you're have a gluten allergy or you're celiac, you know when you go to eat, there's always the risk of cross contamination. No matter where you go, you're taking that chance of cross contamination and you can get sick. So you have to take that responsibility on yourself and say, hey, I know I'm going to eat out at a restaurant. I know that there's that chance. Um, Now, that being said, so we go and I'm looking at the menu and stuff, and we were already there, but I decided just to kind of look at the reviews to see what people had ordered and what people had said. And there was one particular review that I was like, okay, the people were super complaining, and they said, we came on a Friday night and we had to wait forever to get a seat. And then by the time we got a seat, we were starving. And then we had to wait forever for our food to come. And then there was another complaint. I can't remember what the other complaint was. Oh, it was that they were sat close to the band, and the band was so loud that they couldn't even talk to each other. And I'm like, you came to a destination restaurant on a Friday night. You knew you were going to wait. So why are you complaining about the wait? And then
yep.
you knew there was a long wait to get in to sit down. So you knew once you sat down, there was going to be a lot of people. So you knew you weren't going to get your food within 5 minutes. And then you sit next to the band that's playing live, which is why people came here. And you're complaining that the music is too, like, why did you come here? Why did you come to this place? This is like just somebody wanting to bitch. Like, I'm like, why are you writing a bad review on this? Like, you know, like
Does
that was
not make
crazy.
sense whatsoever, right?
No, it did
You,
not make sense whatsoever. Oh,
they are reviewing something.
yeah. But we had
They're
like
writing about something that they did not want and yet went over there. It's
exactly.
crazy.
So I didn't feel like that was a very fair review on their part, because I mean all of those things, yes, those things were true. Yeah, they had to wait. Yeah, they was sat next to the band, and yeah, the food was probably a long wait too, but that's to be expected at a place like that when you're going. Now, I will say they were amazing with the gluten free. They had the I don't know if it was the owner or manager or whoever was in charge of like food allergies. They have an entire menu dedicated just to different allergies. So it's like a whole flip menu with all the different allergies that you can order. Um, Not order allergies, order allergy friendly food for those allergies. And then they prepare it completely separate. My food came out separate. The manager kept coming over asking if everything was okay, everything was prepared right. Um, I thought it was great. I thought they did an awesome job there. Definitely 10 out of 10 stars, would recommend to a friend, and we would go back. It was really good. So people be crazy with writing reviews. So like, in the situation on the story today with the what would you do when they were not writing good reviews, it's very rare that people go write a good review. Most of the time people go write bad reviews, and most of the time the bad reviews are just bullshit.
I'm telling you, people are easy to tell you what they don't like and bad things about their experience. But to leave a good review and tell you what they like and what they want, it's hard. It's hard nowadays. And I don't get it. I seriously don't get it. And I watched a video this week on an interview with Matthew McConaughey, and he's talking about his process of identifying who you are, who who you are not, and I can't quote word by word, but it really said that people tend to really figure it out who they're not. In order to find out who you really are, people tend to figure it out, and it's a lot easier and faster to figure it out who you're not, and eventually that drive you to determining and figuring out who you really are and what drives you, right?
Hmm.
When you look approach it from that end. But when you ask people who you are and what you want, they're like, they have a hard time telling you. But if you ask them who they're not, it's a lot easier to identify for them. So I thought it was a great way of putting that, and just like this, or like you said with the review, people are quick to tell you they don't like and did not like or do not want about anything, rather than telling you how great their experience was.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's definitely seems to be the case across everything, across with reviews.
yeah.
But
And along
like
with that,
back,
what did they leave you a bad review before you even had a chance to fix it?
I'm sorry, repeat that again. It glitched out. I didn't hear what you said.
Going back to the story, and you haven't paid, they haven't paid you anything. What if they already left you a bad review before they even had a chance to fix it?
Yeah, it sounds to me like they just didn't want to pay. They just didn't want to pay, and that was their way of not paying. Everybody's always trying to get something for free. Everybody's trying to not have to pay full price for things, and that. But people don't, or maybe they do realize it. I don't know. Just because you don't pay doesn't mean that somebody didn't pay. Like if you go to a restaurant and you eat your food, and then after your food you pitch a fit and you're like, I didn't like this, this wasn't right, I don't want to pay for this, and the restaurant's like, okay, okay, we'll take care of it, don't worry about it, and you're like, oh good, you didn't pay, but they still had to pay. They still had to pay for the supplies to cook that food. They had to pay for the cooks in the back to cook the food. They had to the servers, the staff. They still paid. So somebody paid. You just didn't pay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people are quick to step out. So, man, it's a good story. I think you guys heard it. If you if you guys have been in any situation like this, we'd love to hear what your feedback is, what your point was, and share it in the comments on this video. I think will be great to see.
Yep.
So, all right, this episode, man, it's going by quick, don't you think?
It really has. Today did fly by. Today's been a busy day in general, but yeah, no, it really did fly by. So if you guys heard the story, let us know what you think, and if you have any suggestions, drop those in the comments as well.
Absolutely. And if this episode made you uncomfortable, fired up, or feel seen, good. That's the point. We put this show together not just to entertain, but to start a conversation, challenge, advice, and help you make smarter moves in real estate and in business.
And don't forget, guys, we have had a slight change to our website. It is now www dot or realtalkha.com instead of .live. So just make sure to make that quick change, and then you can go to our website and you can join our Real Talk community. You can be a spotlight guest on our show, or you can join us on an episode of What Would You Do or Am I the Asshole to weigh in and give your opinion live about those situations.
Absolutely. You guys got to join us here live. And do us a favor, like it, share it, and send it to someone who needs to hear it.
Yep. And I know I already said it earlier, but don't forget to drop your opinion in the comments. Let us know where you guys stand. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so you never miss an episode.
We'll see you next time with more Real Talk with Heather and Andres.
See you next time, guys.
Ciao.